kind of
Troops.
troops.
My aunt calls it troops when we pictures. Let's go to troops.
Everybody, you know, hey,
Yeah.
let's meet at troops, let's go to troops.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I don't know. We may eventually have a troops. Can I get some drink this evening? We are drinking Chianti and white Zinfandel, but anything you'd like. If you'd like a different type of wine, a beer, soda, iced tea, whatever you like.
A Zinfandel.
A white Zinfandel?
No, sorry, what's that?
That's Chianti.
Yeah, Chianti. That sounded
Perfect.
great.
I think I'll have an iced tea.
Iced tea, okay.
Well, thank you for coming. Wonderful food, but you learn a hell of a lot about cooking. And with that,
Well,
to be honest.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. Anybody, show of hands, anybody, have all of you done a cooking class or of some sort, or some kind of cooking presentation? Where did you do yours at?
We've done a couple. The last one was up, we bought a wood-fired pizza oven. So it was up, what town? Cupertino?
Yeah, I was up,
Bay
And
Area.
did they show you how to, to show you how to use your oven and stuff like
Right.
that? Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
What's an oven? Pardon?
I've read about it. I've read about
Is
it.
it in that room in the house that,
Yes, there's plates and
By the
stuff.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
By the refrigerator.
it's where the wine is? Okay.
In the microwave.
It's what Z Cafe has in the back.
Okay, so tonight we're doing capellini al forno. Capellini meaning thin hair. So capelle, translated in Italian, capelle means hair. Capellini means like a fine hair, a thin hair. Al forno, of course, forno being oven. So it's a baked pasta. And I'm super excited about it because whoever invented this thing here, and of course, not all of you have a heart-shaped spring-form pan, but I do, so, because I cook with love. But whoever invented this is an absolute genius. Like, this is so fantastic. So anyway, so we're gonna build layers of pasta within our spring-form pan. And then once we take it off, you're gonna actually be able to see all the different layers. And then we're gonna slice it like a pie and serve it. So it should be pretty exciting. Let's see, let's talk about some of my ingredients. Of course, the capellini, which is our angel hair. I've kind of fast forwarded a little bit. I've actually cooked the pasta. Just something that you want to remember when cooking the pasta, before you toss everything together, make sure it's well drained. You don't want any of that water still kind of seeping out and kind of hanging out at the bottom of your pan. Okay, so just make sure all the water gets out. And it's still going to be a little bit warm, so you'll be able to actually melt your butter in the pasta itself. Because I've kind of pre-done that, my pasta has gone cold, so I'm actually going to melt my butter first and then add it to my pasta and then mix it all together. So we have our egg. We're going to add that to our capellini. That's going to be our kind of our binder. That's going to keep it all together. Yes. Oh. Our Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, parsley, butter, of course. This is our smoked mozzarella. So you could do it with regular mozzarella, but why would you when you can do it with smoked mozzarella? It's going to add a whole other layer of flavor in there. Of course, our breadcrumbs, you want them to be unseasoned. You don't want any competition with the other wonderful ingredients. That prosciutto is going to add such a savory element to it, and you don't want really any competition with that. So breadcrumbs unseasoned, thinly sliced prosciutto, and then again our smoked mozzarella. So we're ready to begin. We're going to take, of course, the go ahead and preheat your oven to about 350 degrees. We get that dialed in. Then we take our springform pan, and we're actually going to take our room temperature butter, and we're just going to kind of have fun with this. And we're just going to really just put it all over, not only the bottom, but you want to make sure that we get the sides as well. Because we want this, once we're finished and it cools down a little bit, once we hit that spring release there, we don't want anything to stick. Okay? So we're just going to...
And do you recommend using the fingers?
Absolutely.
I'm actually that serious.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna get more coverage. It's just gonna be easier. Yes, it's gonna be a little bit messier, but that's what, in that room with the plates and silverware and stuff like that, there's this kind of basin looking thing, and you lift up the lever and water comes out of it. So you can actually, you can take care of the water in your hands.
Perfect.
So,
What, but do we put olive oil in there too?
nope, just butter. We're gonna add olive oil, but we're not gonna do it to the very end. So, all right, so we have our pan is ready. We have our capellini, okay? So you just want to make sure that if you do it the way I did it, kind of in advance, you want to add just a little bit of olive oil because you don't want it to all clump and stick together. Okay, so just add a little bit of olive oil, kind of move it around, make sure we keep it nice and loose. Okay, so we're going to take our butter, so our 4 tablespoons of butter. And we're just going to kind of melt that down so we can kind of mix it into our pasta. Any questions so far? So far, so good?
How long did you cook the pasta?
It depends. You want it kind of, you don't want it totally al dente. You want it just kind of perfectly cooked. You want it maybe capellini 5 to 8 minutes, not very long.
Boiling water.
Age of her pasta. Age of her pasta.
In boiling water.
And boiling water. Yes. And the reason why, as far as you could use a different pasta, but it's not going to it's not going to get as compact as a capellini because it's so thin. Once you because you're going to want to press it down a little bit, so you want to form these layers. And with a larger noodle, it's just going to be too loose. The egg is not really going to bind it as well as if you use a capellini. All right, so we're just going to add our butter directly to our capellini.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
This is an appetizer.
This is going to be served as an appetizer tonight. You could go either way with it. You could actually make this into a meal, cut the slices larger, serve less people, of course, with the 9-inch. But if you want to do kind of in fourths and just serve 4 people, you could have a really nice meal out of it. But we are going to serve it as an appetizer tonight. Because I was so excited about it, and I got excited about the pork. I wanted to be able to serve both, so I figured instead of having 2 entrees, we'll eat this as an appetizer, and then we'll do the pork chop as our main course. Okay, so we're ready to add our Parmesan cheese.
Nobody goes away hungry.
Guess so.
Okay, and we want to make sure we leave a little bit, because at the end we're going to mix Parmesan cheese with breadcrumbs, and we're going to finish it because we want a nice kind of crust on top. So put some of the Parmesan cheese to the side, and we're going to make sure that this is nice and tossed together. Okay, we're going to add some parsley. Some salt.
A pinch.
Pinch of each. Okay, we're going to add our egg. Again, this is our binder. 3 eggs whipped.
With the yolk.
With the yolk, yes.
Like raw.
We want to make sure that's nice and tossed. Let me kind of give you an idea of what that's going to look like.
You probably need the yolk. You can't really use egg beaters or
You could.
substitute.
Is that the pound? Is that the pound of capellini?
Pound of capellini. Yeah.
So if you want to do vegan vegetarian, then you could use the, does the pasta have egg in it? Is it egg?
No, it's not.
So then you could use an egg substitute and it would still bind it and.
Yes. I mean, then you would, if you're doing vegan, then
you
this
would
is no
finish-
good and
yeah,
then this is no
but
good.
you could do garlic in it.
Right. You could. I mean, really, you could just. You can experiment with different things. You don't have to have. It's just the concept that that layered effect
Right.
is pretty amazing. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead. We're ready to start building our capellini al forno. So we're going to take our unseasoned breadcrumbs. Okay, and this is going to be kind of our bottom crust. And what we're doing is because we've buttered our pan. As soon as that butter melts, it's going to kind of merge into the whole breadcrumbs, and it's going to form that nice crust on the bottom.
So was this a dish that you grew up with? Or something similar?
Something similar. it's I've kind of given it a little bit of my own flair here. But yeah, we used to do we call it anelete al forno. And the anelete you actually really can't find in a lot of stores. It's just a little tiny, they look like SpaghettiOs. But it's a dry pasta, and it's just a ring shaped. And we used to make an anelete al forno. And my mom would only make it maybe once a year, just because now I actually have to go all the way to Mona Lisa in San Diego to buy the anelete because they're hard to find. So yes, but this is different. I'm using the angel hair. The anelete is more of a saucy type dish, so you're gonna kind of spoon it out, where this right here, you're gonna be able to slice it. All right, so we're gonna take now a third of our pasta, okay? Because we're gonna create 3 layers here. And we're just going to make sure that we get nice coverage, move that all around, make sure that, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go our first layer, we're going to do the prosciutto.
Is it chopped or is it just?
Yeah, so
sliced?
it's sliced, and then just kind of dice it, kind of run your knife through a little bit, just kind of break it up. Then we're going to do the mozzarella.
Smoked, exactly.
Okay, we're going to do some more breadcrumbs. Okay, now we're ready for the second layer.
So you're known for your layering and all the dishes that you do. Was that something that was a family tradition or something you've learned through cooking through the years?
It's really kind of something that I discovered, you know, because the dishes that I grew up with, they're very simple. You know, my mom's style of cooking was very basic ingredients, very simple ingredients. My grandfather had gardens, and my mom's father, so everything that she cooked, it was always fresh herbs, fresh vegetables, that kind of stuff. So there wasn't a lot of complex type ingredients, and that's one thing that my mom always taught me, that, you know, you don't need to add all of these stuff. People think to make a true, you know, like a Italian tomato sauce, you gotta add loads of garlic and loads of onion, and you just, my mom always told me that let the vegetable, like itself, let that be the flavor. Be able to identify what that flavor is instead of it being masked with so many other things. And so that's kind of, and, you know, in some of my dishes represent that and are true to that. Some I've kind of gone outside of what my mom taught me, and you know, I've experimented with different types of things, and it seems to have worked out for me.
Who's from Italy?
Both my parents, yeah. They were born and raised in Sicily, yeah.
Do they go home much?
Not as often as they would like. My mom doesn't travel well, especially on a 17-hour flight kind of thing. So when they do go, they have to plan a trip for several months. So it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. You're able to spend a couple months in class.
Did your mom ever hang out at
No. I mean, she goes, like, she was there on Tuesday because she knew I was going to be there.
Yeah.
And so she's like, it's the only way that I get to see you. So she showed up around 8 o'clock and hung out for a little bit. Okay, so we've added the rest of our prosciutto.
So she must have heard you buying another restaurant, oh no, 3 restaurants, a coffee shop.
Yeah, it's just funny. Actually, they were a couple weeks ago. She and my dad came down, and I took them on a tour, and it was kind of neat. Just, you know, my dad and I have always had this kind of weird relationship and almost kind of a competition. And so for him to come, he's like, you own this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and this too? Uh-huh. And this one? So it was kind of cool. It was a proud moment for sure.
That's
And a little bit of immunity.
Oh, nice.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Because I was in Saturday, and I went in there, and he was with a group of people in the back, sitting down with a family or something.
Uh-huh.
I think what was it? Anyway, I said, where's Faro? And he goes, who?
That sounds about right. Okay, so we added the rest of our smoked mozzarella. Oh, and I forgot a layer, of course. Shh. I don't know. Nobody knows anything. All right, so we're gonna combine the rest of our Parmesan cheese with our breadcrumbs, and then we're just gonna create our crust.
So it's a 2-layer instead of a 3-layer.
For conversation purposes.
It's supposed to be prosciutto, then more pasta, then more cheese, then more pasta.
Yeah. So you're
It's like a
An Italian
lasagna.
trifle.
so it's, exactly baked Italian trifle. Okay, so now we're going to take our butter, and then we're just going to place it right on top. Okay, you don't need to spread it. You don't need to do anything. We're just going to strategically place it like that. Okay, then we're going to take our olive oil, and we're just going to drizzle olive oil on top. And the butter and the olive oil together are going to do wonderful things. Okay, so we're going to throw this in the oven 350 degrees. It does take a little bit of time. So you're looking at about 45 to 50 minutes
Oh, wow.
in there. But it's got to cook all through, and just kind of keep an eye on it. You want to definitely get that nice golden crust on top. This is now for the when you do when you watch the Food Channel. This is where they cut to commercial, and that 45 to 50 minutes have passed. So we're going to cut to commercial, and I'll be back to show you the final product, and we'll cut it and plate it and eat it.
Did you do the egg?
The egg I put in the pasta. That was my mind. Yes,
What about the marinara?
that's going to come. That's going to come later.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna you can play with how you want to serve it.
Okay.
But we're gonna bake this, and when it comes out, we're gonna let it set for about 10 minutes. Okay, just because we don't want to take the springform off,
Right.
and then it just
You want it to
bleed.
set.
So we want it to set.
Okay.
We cut it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna serve it on a bed of marinara sauce.
And then you're,
And then I'm just gonna put the wedge of the baked pasta right on top. Okay, so let's do that. Be right back.
Wow.
Like-
Yes.
So this is what you want it to look like.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So
look
good.
at that.
that's
And then I'll show you again once we take.
Fish or something.
Did the heart change
Yeah, it did.
shapes in the oven?
It's
The oven kind of.
because you made my heart melt. So it turned into a different shape. Okay, so,
So he takes it, pulls right off.
Oh,
So you've had that sitting for a while then?
yes.
Okay, to kind of, is it how,
towels stay
it's not
warm.
room temperature, but it's a little bit warmer than?
It's a little bit warmer than room temperature.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see kind of the layers in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You could add, just add some of that for like a lunch or something. Cool.
I'm gonna get my spatula.
I like to eat.
I was just saying,
Yeah, again,
sausage, meat, and make it like that.
But it's the concept, yeah. It's just,
It's just like the lasagna.
I've learned so much of things of dishes that
No.
I
How do you get tired of saying
Doing different things.
You'll be hired
It's a whole different
I
way.
know, exactly. No, but this is easy peasy. Can you make this ahead of time?
Yes.
Sure.
So at what point would you stop? Like,
You
let's
can
say,
stop here and then throw it back in the oven.
you could throw it back in the oven to reheat it.
Yep.
That'd do just fine.
That's, I mean, that's a great idea for a holiday or whatever.
The same
Get it all
temperature,
done
like.
Yeah, you get it done before anybody's over.
Yeah, you just,
So do you literally have one layer left in the pan of angel hair
It's a
pasta?
little bit less than, yeah.
But you pretty much put it.
Pretty much, yeah. It has almost all of it in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, normally my kitchen staff actually plates it, but I'm gonna do it
Do
tonight.
you serve it here?
No.
Do you have, okay, this is a special.
This is special.
That's when the kitchen's really full. I mean, there's a lot of people in the restaurant. Just about every time we have a
That's the
cookie.
perfect plate.
what is that?
Deep plate.
Yeah, you want to serve this. If this is the kind of presentation you're going to do, this is how you're going to plate it. You definitely want a pasta bowl. Unless if you're going to do the sauce on top, then you wouldn't need a bowl type thing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That really is.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you.
Now that is an hors d'oeuvre.
Look at that.
I
That's
guess.
dinner.
Yeah, that's dinner.
Wow, that looks really
Well, yeah, if you don't want your pork chop.
You're wait for the pork chop.
good.
Oh my
Listen, I
gosh.
wore my elastic-based pants. I
Oh, you're prepped.
wish I had actually. My moo-moo.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's beautiful.
It's too good to eat.
I would have never thought of using pasta. I mean, lasagna,
Angel.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of doing that.
That's why we have the cooking classes.
Yes, that's great.
Thank
We'll
you
have
for
to tell
not
Chris
bringing
about
us
this.
the fish. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can do that in this restaurant up there.
You don't like fish? Or you don't do fish? Usually I ask if
Yeah,
there's any
me.
culinaries, but in your case I just said.
You use the same
I hope for the best.
This is my mom's sauce.
Yeah.
45 years.
Does she think it's identical?
I had her taste it when she was here last, and I said, Mom, be honest, what do you think of my sauce? She's like, it's really good. So,
That's neat.
yeah.
That's
so
a good
She
compliment.
paid me the biggest compliment.
Were you Mom's favorite?
She isn't happy.
Ooh, this I want to hear. This I want to hear.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, you know, it's so funny. Each of us, we all kind of have our unique. I'm the baby. My oldest brother is the eldest and firstborn, and the middle is my sister, who's the only girl. So we kind of each have our special thing about us.
Now, I met your brother, but I haven't.
How much is it?
My sister, she was the only one that got out of the restaurant business, and she went into, she became a hairstylist.
Oh.
And then she met her husband, and he was in the restaurant business. So now she's back in the restaurant business.
That's funny.
Are they the ones out in Marietta? Or
Yeah.
And you have a place in Oceanside too?
Oceanside Park.
The harbor. Dominic's, you still call it Dominic.
Well, they have the pizza
Yeah.
and then they have a wine bar with like gourmet hors d'oeuvres. That's what Faro said.
You see, look at this. This is so cool.
Do you cook, John?
I used to.
You still do.
Not very much. If she'll tell you what you have to do.
Yeah, and I'll find, because I don't know if you.
Well, but it's not going to be. It's going to be on the building. It's not going to be on the sign.
I know. Let's,
All right. So on to our second course. I'm a big pork guy. I used to be strictly red meat. So,
What is pork belly? I don't.
Yeah, I don't get
I don't know what
it
it
either.
is.
I've never had any, I don't think.
it's interesting because it's like 60% fat. Like it's about. I mean, you can kind of roll it out, and it's like a square piece,
Yeah, I've seen
and
that on TV.
it's literally like 60% fat.
It's like menudo?
40%. What's that?
Like menudo?
No. I mean, this is literally like this is a piece of pork. Like if you just got this ginormous pork steak,
Pig.
but it's the majority of it is fat. But the interesting thing about pork belly is that if cooked properly, I could blindfold you and give you a taste of it, and you would think it was some kind of a meat. You would not know that you just ate fat. I mean, it is really, it's pretty delicious. It really is. Whoever discovered that you could cook this and make it into this awesome, a lot of people serve it as appetizers. It's really good. Anyways,
so are we actually eating pork chops or are we eating pork?
Bellies.
Bellies.
no, pork chops. I wouldn't do that to you. Of course.
I mean, I already have the fat.
So no. Anyways, but now if I go to a restaurant and they have an option of like a pork chop, like a double cut pork chop or something like that, I most likely will order that over the steak. I just like it that much. So that's why I kind of went with that, and Also, one of those great culinary discoveries, pork and apple. They go,
Oh, yeah.
jams and applesauce. They get to say,
Yeah, that's been for years.
so I liked what the apples kind of brought to the recipe, and then of course the pancetta, that more pork, but it's going to give it that really smoky. So you got the sweet and the savory, and anybody that knows how I cook, it's all about layers of flavor. I like the textures. I like getting that crunch in certain things. I like getting the savory. I like getting the sweet all into one. I like you to be able to taste the different layers as you eat it. At least it doesn't taste like it was just cooked in one big pot. So,
Wow.
without further ado, let's make some awesome pork chops.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's big, so it's singular. Pork chop.
Wait a minute, not everybody's gonna get one of those.
No.
Yes,
Oh my God.
everybody is going to get one of those.
Is that center
No,
cut?
John's not, right? John's,
No, not now.
No, not
gonna get
you,
half.
A
John.
half.
No, he can take the other half home. Yeah, we don't mess around here. We don't want
We
anyone
don't
leaving-
mess around.
We don't want anyone leaving hungry. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna crisp our pancetta. So 2 tablespoons of oil.
and porchetta is, again, what is it?
Pancetta, it's kind of an Italian bacon. It's an Italian kind of, it's a pork roll kind of thing.
Salty.
You can get it at major market, and it's just wonderful. It is actually, if anyone has ever eaten a spaghetti carbonara, which is very popular, it's that spaghetti, but it has peas and onions and pancetta. It's the one that they actually put an egg in, and then they kind of toss it all around.
Is that pre-cooked?
No,
It's not, pancetta's not.
it's pancetta.
You're gonna cook it right now.
Right, this is just like bacon.
Like
you
raw-
would-
raw bacon.
Raw bacon.
Yeah.
Raw bacon.
Yeah.
She's
So,
gonna,
Pancetta.
She made some pasta, what did you make the other day? Linguine, olive oil, and garlic, and pancetta. It was so good.
simple. I mean, you
I
can make
ate
that in 10 minutes.
you can add pancetta to Cheerios and it would be good.
Cheerios.
It would be really, really good.
Maple donut.
Or maple donut.
Yeah.
That was one of those at the bacon fest.
Yeah.
They had maple bacon
Yeah.
cakes, maple bacon donuts.
I want to make myself a pancetta milkshake.
Or do what?
Pancetta
Well,
milkshake.
they serve
Oh.
bacon and ice cream.
Right? Bacon milkshake. Why not? It'll be like the Italian version of.
I'll have to cook it first though.
So.
Somehow that doesn't sound good.
No, me neither. I don't like that
And
combination.
the
But I put peanut butter in my pancakes too.
kind of the trick behind this particular dish is that all of these different, I don't know if anyone can smell that, I was kind of,
Yeah, it smells
I just got a whiff of that, and that's awesome. And all the steps, you always use the same saute pan, which is kind of cool, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna build in those flavors. So you have all that kind of crispy pancetta just kind of chilling on the bottom, and then you'll be able to, once you add the other ingredients, you kind of deglaze it, so you release all those wonderful crispy,
Can I ask you a funny question? Does your spatula melt, or is that a certain kind of spatula?
certain times.
Okay,
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to do it with a regular spatula.
okay. So what kind is that?
I get it at actually Smart Final. It's just a commercial. I'm not Smart Final. Sam's Club. They have their kind of the restaurant aisle,
Okay.
and they're really inexpensive. And yeah, they're yeah, because any kind of regular spatula.
There's milk.
If you're from Sweden, they have little wood sticks that they do.
I usually use, yeah.
Yeah, try to call it chopstick.
Chopsticks.
Okay, so we're gonna take our pancetta.
Yeah. Take that out.
So it's the pancetta itself is gonna kind of release its own oil. So depending on how much oil you actually have in there, because you don't want it to be too oily, so I'm actually gonna take some of this out. It's not that much, but we're gonna keep everything in there.
Yeah, the crumbs.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So now we're gonna take that same saute pan. We're gonna add our butter, melt that down, and we're gonna add our apples.
And what kind of apples do you?
Those are the Golden Delicious. Okay, then we're gonna take our sugar.
Leave the peeling on?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
No, peel and quarter and slice about a quarter inch thick or so.
So they're actually slices. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Exhaust fan?
Yeah, exhaust
Exhaust
fan.
fan?
Yeah, hold on. It's not working.
John, why don't you get up and just take a paper cut?
That's it.
What? Everybody
Would have brought
blow.
my fan.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of play a little pretend, just because I can't cook the pork chop in its entirety the way it says, because I will smoke you out, and this will fill with smoke. So I'm just gonna kind of show you an application, and then I'm not gonna cook it all the way, then I'll plate it so you guys can get the visual. But of course you want to finish cooking it when you're at home.
So we're cutting the commercial.
We're cutting to commercial, yeah.
You're gonna cook the pork chop in that dish with those things? No.
No. So what I'm going to do is after the apples are cooked, nice and tender, okay, we're going to take those out and put them into into a little bowl with all the oil. I mean, with the oil, the butter, all of that. So that's going to become part of our sauce.
How long would you say?
For the apples,
Yeah.
maybe 5 minutes or so.
Tender.
What's that?
Tender.
Till they're tender. Yeah.
Yeah, like pork tender.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So again, we're going to speed up the process a little bit.
That's his dish, don't worry.
You're gonna slice, you're gonna turn it off your knee.
Cut.
Cut, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Take two.
Retake, take
Yeah, let's start over.
I want it all.
two. Okay.
Can't
So
accept that.
of course, with cooking, and it's not perfect every time. My flame was too hot.
Yeah.
So it actually, it browned it more than I wanted to. The apples are fine, but the sauce itself, too hot. Okay, so it created this.
Brown.
So you don't want brown. You don't
Not
want
this
Burn
brown.
it.
You gotta dump it
Not
out.
this brown.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start over with the sauce, and so that way I can kind of show you what it's supposed to look like.
Great, but
The actual name.
He said he wishes he was here.
The dots?
The dot, you know, when you, a split divided, no, not one.
the dots on the road,
No, divided lane.
my lane.
Yeah.
The double yellow light?
Like the broken.
Originally, a woman.
Well, I'm sure that was what that would want.
Yeah, they would want mine.
It would want one, because they want organized.
They knew there were people like you
Okay, so I'm going to hit the rewind button and forget everything that I just said in the past 2 minutes.
We'll see it twice,
I
that's
don't
good.
even worry about that, just have more wine on.
Perfect. Okay. So, it seemed unusually, but this is really, the sauce, the characteristics and the character of the sauce is kind of born with kind of all this kind of crustiness. So it's going to be a really dark sauce kind of thing. So we're good. So I'm not going to start over. I cooked my apples. I transferred the apples and all the oil and butter into a separate container. Okay. So now we're going to actually continue with what we were doing.
Why did you change your mind?
Because he's a woman.
He's
he has
running
a
out of
problem.
time.
Yeah.
Because we're talking
Well,
too
just
much.
because as far as with as many recipes and everything that's in my head, I just kind of envisioned the sauce. I was thinking kind of a different
Yeah.
recipe, and I thought, okay, this sauce is not a dark sauce, and this will be a dark sauce if I continue with this. So I had to, anyways. So now we're back to
It is a dark
it is a dark
sauce, and
sauce,
it's okay.
and it's okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So we have our pork
Well, that's the
chop.
logic behind it.
Well, are those center cut?
Yes. Yeah. And
With the
they're-
bone.
With the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're French, which means they just kind of clean the bone. That's what
Why
French.
do you
What
use?
was the stuffing on here?
Dumb question, but why do you
The
use
what?
bone in
Stuffing.
versus?
What do you mean the stuff?
Stuffing.
Does it
You mean the
matter?
breadcrumbs?
In my opinion, I think
Oh, you should
it's a more
know.
tender
I'm telling you.
cut of pork.
Okay.
And I personally, I love what the bone kind of adds to it. I just feel like to just do a straight pork loin, which is wonderful in some applications.
think of that,
But
'cause you're gonna
to me, there's
grasp
nothing
that.
like a pork chop. I think it really changes the flavor. I think if I compared you a pork chop and a pork loin, you would taste the difference.
Okay. There's a depth with the bone in, I think.
Yeah.
The steak, it's just a different flavor.
Kind of flavor.
I mean, like
It's more complex.
Again, if I don't have that pork on the menu, I always go with the bone-in ribeye, just because I just think that ribeye is already flavorful. But that bone-in ribeye, it's just, I think it's the best steak
Anything,
ever.
well, it's always closer to the bone,
I
it's
was gonna
always
say, it's in a
better.
different location.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna salt and pepper our pork chop.
So rather than a rub, you like just salt and pepper?
In this application, yes.
Can you put oil on it first?
Yes. Because we want the salt and pepper to stick.
Yeah. Yeah, that flavor leaves. Gets hot.
Yeah. Even for a kind of a stovetop type.
Yeah, that.
So, another thing as far as just maybe to make a mental note, to cook a pork chop in its entirety, this pork chop will not cook on 2 minutes on each side. Never happen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sear it, we're gonna finish it in the oven. So set your oven 350, we're just gonna sear it, make sure we kind of get all those flavors locked in, and then we're gonna transfer it to the oven, maybe 10 minutes or so in the oven at 350 degrees. We'll finish cooking in there in the meantime, and then we'll put it back into our saute pan with all of our other ingredients, and then we'll just kind of finish it and let all the flavors merge together.
Covered or uncovered?
Uncovered.
Okay, here we go.
Garlic.
No garlic, John.
No garlic?
Oh, garlic.
You know why?
Why?
Because it would burn. It'd be bitter.
It would burn completely. Unless you could actually, at one stage, you could actually add the garlic, but it would have to be the absolute last thing. And so you would kind of sweat the garlic and not really saute it because it would burn.
So if I use garlic, salt, and fry, then the garlic salt's gonna burn?
No. Not any, I mean,
Garlic powder.
yeah, it's just gonna, you mean like as far as if you put it on your pork chop?
Yeah.
Just sprinkle the garlic salt?
Garlic salt instead of salt, same thing, it would be okay.
You're gonna, I mean, if you look at this, you're gonna see it, you won't be able to tell the difference between your burnt salt and the char from the saute pan, because it's gonna be all brown on one side, so yeah, you can do that if you wanted to. Okay, so you just kind of get that, just to kind of seal it. We're gonna do the other side, we're gonna put it back in the oven. While that's happening, we're gonna finish, we're gonna make the rest of our sauce, a third kind of component. Then we're gonna take it out of the oven, put everything back together, just let it simmer for a little bit, and then so let all those flavors kind of blend together and infuse into each other. And then we'll plate it. As far as side dishes, up to you. You can do garlic mashed potatoes. You can do seasonal vegetables. You can do an oven roast potato, however you want to do it. So I recommend maybe a little veggie, a little starch of some sort. You'll be good to go. Okay, so moving along, we've seared, we're brown on both sides. We're gonna put that in the oven, okay? Add a little bit more olive oil. We're gonna do our onions first, okay? Because we don't want them to be, we don't want a crunchy raw onion. So we're gonna kind of give them a head start. And then anybody know why we would put brandy as the next ingredient?
Anybody's okay.
Both. One, nice because it's a liquid. We're adding a liquid to our saute pan. Two, brandy has alcohol. We want to give it the most amount of time to burn off that alcohol flavor. We want to be left with the flavor of the brandy, but not the alcohol. If you put it in last, it's not going to really give it enough time to burn off.
The problem with that is,
Yeah, what's wrong with the alcohol?
You don't want to taste the alcohol.
John,
There's no carbs in the alcohol.
John wants gin in his. Gin.
Okay, so we're going to add our brandy. And just be careful when you're cooking with alcohol. It's not as big of a threat here because I don't have the BTUs that you would have at home.
I don't know about that.
You don't have the what?
BTUs.
Fire,
That's
fire.
how they make the fire and stuff.
Yeah.
You turned it up, you good.
So,
Yeah.
but if you want, always take your saute pan off the flame, add your alcohol, and then return it back to the flame. Okay. So now we're gonna go some fresh thyme, because we could all use a little more time in our life,
Yeah. Especially you.
especially me. And then this is our manufacturing cream. Okay.
Ooh, I really like this.
Just heavy cream.
Just heavy cream. Yep. And this smells amazing.
God, it smells good, doesn't it?
Okay, we're gonna turn up the heat.
The whole thing is being good with sauces. That's the hardest thing to learn. I haven't learned it
To
yet.
get them.
We're gonna add our bacon back, our pancetta.
Yeah.
We're gonna add our apples,
Yeah.
And the butter.
all that. Oh gosh, this is so awesome. This looks
Yeah.
amazing. I have to show this to you guys before I put the pork chop back in there.
I think the brown really works.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. You got it.
All right. So now,
That smells good.
This is after it comes out of the oven.
this is after it comes out of the oven. Absolutely. And we're just gonna kind of
You don't want to eat this.
no.
No, that's too quick.
See, what's cool is, once we do our thing, that you could stop and edit and do all those wonderful things, and it makes it
Yes.
a lot better. Okay, so we're ready to plate. So now we have our fancy square plate, which I love to cook with, and plates all my dishes on cool shaped plates.
Presentation, very important.
We're gonna kind of do something fun here. We're gonna move
I can't believe
this to the
hard.
center of the plate, bring those in a little bit, and we're gonna take our pork chop.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Stand it up like that.
Yeah. Well, pour the
Question
sauce
is,
over
are you
the-
hungry?
Even if I wasn't, I would be.
Now that, my friends,
Delicious.
that's a pork
Oh,
chop. So,
look at that. Oh, my God.
you guys ready to try?